Inside the Birds is back. Hello, everybody. It's Geoff Mosher and Adam Caplan. Wishing that both of us could greet our listeners with a little bit better news, but unfortunately, we don't have good news on this game review pod. The Eagles lose in Pittsburgh. A hard-fought game, a little bit different of a complexion game than we thought, but they lose 38-29 nonetheless. They fall to now 1-3-1 early on the season. And I'll tell you my initial thought on this, Adam. My initial thought was, it's a damn shame. It really is a damn shame that they lost this game because the offense was functional. Carson Wentz and Travis Fulgham had something special going on. And we'll get into that, but that was a special story itself.
Yeah.
It wasn't dink and dunk all the time. Carson had some time to make some throws, and for the first time, you started to see the rhythm that you've been looking for all year long.
Yeah.
Against a good defense. And what makes it a shame is, in my estimation, is that the Eagles are so deficient, as we've talked about, in certain areas of their coverage, their middle of the field coverage, outside coverage, that you just watched Randy Fichtner, the offensive coordinator, and Ben Roethlisberger and that whole offensive brain trust basically do exactly what they wanted to do. They were amazing on third down, and bigger than that, Adam, they took a page out of the Rams playbook, even the Niners a little bit. They took a move piece like Chase Claypool and said, you know what? We're going to exploit the crap out of him because we know we can. And that's the shame of it. The Eagles should have known this was coming. The Steelers knew what they wanted to do, and the Eagles could not stop it. And that's not good.
Yeah, look, it's not our job to be cheerleaders. We're not. We call it down the middle. But it was sort of encouraging that they came back. When they were down, 18 points. Yeah, it was actually 17, 31-14. I thought it was over. And then Peterson wins the challenge, and that completely changed the course of everything. Then they came back, and you're like, you know what? For a team that's undermanned, the Steelers are clearly the better team. It's not close. Eagles fought. I was to the point where, like, this actually may happen. But reality hit, and you outlined it very, very well. The Eagles are so bad at linebacker, so bad in the middle of the field. I thought Ebron would have done better. Eric Ebron had some good catches. He had the turnover. He almost had another turnover. But I'll tell you what, an undermanned team, the game should not have been as close as it was. I give the Eagles credit. The Steelers come down early in the game. They score off of a really bad call against Slay. Just awful.
Yes, I agree.
The second one was correct. I know the rule pretty well in pass interference. I'm usually right on that. And I've talked to Mike Pereira from Fox for many years about this stuff. And I've talked to, when I worked for ESPN, I talked to the officials office as well. So I kind of know the call pretty well. If you get an advantage, it's a call. If not, don't call it. It's simple as that.
Right.
But look, overall, you're right, Geoff. They showed some heart. They did score 29 points. Very, very encouraging on that side of the football. Defensively, in the end, any team that could put you in 11 personnel, which we said, I must have said it on the Friday show 10 times. That's all they're going to do to the Eagles. It's exactly what they got. Greg Cosell outlined it very, very well in our pregame show, what they were going to get. And they got it, and they had no chance. Maddox is not playing. They don't have any size at corner opposite Slay. The Steelers took advantage of it, as you said, with Claypool. So the Eagles got what was coming to them. They got housed. I mean, they gave up 38 points, and quite frankly, the Steelers left some points on the field, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They certainly did, and it's the third time now in 5 games this year that the Eagles have allowed at least 27 points in a game. And more damning than that was, I believe, the 75% conversion rate that the Steelers had on third down. The Eagles converted a lot of third downs too, but obviously the Steelers were able to hit the way bigger plays. We'll talk about that. We'll get into many of the things that broke down and some of the things that were really positive in this game. I hope everybody caught our Inside the Birds pregame live. Inside the Birds live pregame show before the game on our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter channels. I thought this one in particular, Greg Cosell, Trey Thomas, yourself, the analysis was top notch. So if you're not catching our pregame show, you're really missing out. It's no fluff, all football, all X's and O's, and a lot of things that go on on the field are things that we talk about or forecast during the pregame show.
Yeah,
so I hope everybody check that out.
Right, we do it. I mean, Trey with the offensive line, and I'm sure Trey's got to be loving it because they did some great things, and we'll get into that. And Greg Cosell clearly had, because he's watched so much tape of Pittsburgh and what they do pre-snap and post-snap offensively and defensively. I will tell you before we get started on both sides of the football, I was surprised that the Eagles did as well as they did offensively. Yes, the first drive of the game was horrendous, but they hung in there. The line protected Wentz for the most part really, really well. I did not see that coming at all. Man, I missed out on that one, and I think we all did, quite frankly. But Trey thought they could hang in there. I got to give Jeff Stoutland credit and this makeshift offensive line. And losing again, Lane Johnson leaves the game. This time he's carted off with that same ankle injury. It's a shame that he can't finish, but I give them credit. They showed a lot of heart. That's the thing about Doug Peterson coach teams. They play so hard for him. Though they're undermanned, Steelers clearly have the better roster. It didn't mean that the Eagles couldn't come up and upset them. They almost did it, but in the end, the Steelers, the better football team, won the game.
Yeah, and that's why I call it a shame, right? Because you started to see some development. I mean, a tie is not a loss, so you saw some development against the Bengals, even more so last week against the Niners. And here they come, and as you mentioned, who could have predicted that Travis Fulgham was going to take that big of a jump from start one to start two?
No one.
And that Carson was going to hit the deep ball with him, and then in some major third down. They also converted 75% of their third down, so they did a good job moving the ball. And it gets spoiled by the fact that the Steelers basically dictated what they wanted to do on offense and succeeded. So we'll talk about that this week. Just to remind everybody, coming up Tuesday, you're going to get Tales from the Blind Side on the Inside the Birds platform with Trey Thomas, Jamal Jackson, and Todd Hermans, which was awesome last week. I mean, we got a ton of views, so I'm glad people are liking that. And even also on Thursday, you'll have Grillin' the Birds with Derek Gunn and Trey Thomas, which is also doing really well. So people are appreciating the expansion to Inside the Birds, and we appreciate them for tuning in and listening. And I think we're giving everybody a good variety of content this year. So I hope everybody's enjoying that. Let's get into, we talked about our opening thoughts. Let me get a big picture thought before we start breaking down X's and O's here, Adam. They're 1-3-1 with Baltimore on deck Sunday. We've said all along that they could probably lose 5 straight games and still be in it because the NFC East is so bad. But that's not the point, right? The point of this was to be better than last year. You're always trying to get better. They're clearly not better. And, limping into the playoffs, backing in because of the expansion, that's not going to sit well. This team was supposed to be better.
Yeah, almost certainly the NFC East team will have a losing record who wins it. I mean, whether it's 7-9 or 7-8-1, whatever it is, folks. It's not going to be pretty. Very encouraged, though, with the way that Wentz played. Was he perfect? No. Did he miss some throws? Yes. Were some throws too high? Yes. One other thing that I did want to touch on, which is troubling, and I knew this would be the case in this game because Pittsburgh's got the best run defense. As you outlined in our pregame show, the numbers, what do they give it? They were only giving up 57 yards on the ground per game.
Yeah.
They hit him with a sprint draw, but for the touchdown to Sanders, but other than that, they couldn't run for the save their life. I mean, if the Steelers had 9 players on defense, they still couldn't run. This is what happens when you're playing with 2 backup guards that should not be playing. They're below average. Your right tackle leaves the game. You're playing with a left tackle who quite frankly, play well from TV copy. And I talked to someone, a league source who I spoke to 20 minutes after the game. They watched the TV copy and thought that Mailata did a good job. So I'm encouraged with the fact that no Deshaun Jackson, no Alshon Jeffrey, and they still were able to move the ball on a great defense, man. This is one of the top 3 defenses in the National Football League. If you want to argue that they're the best, I won't argue against it. So you got to feel pretty good about that. And Wentz improved, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, they improved. My big picture takeaway is this is a rough patch. We talked about it. They got 1 win against San Francisco. They lost Pittsburgh. Baltimore is going to be difficult. It is at their house, so that'll help. I mean, the Eagles' house, Lincoln Financial Field. If they can win that game, take some of these developments into next week, then you start to look at the schedule. And, I mean, you still see Seattle down the road and Green Bay, and you got to get there. They got to crawl before they walk. And unfortunately, they crawled on offense. They started to, get there, and then defense just took a big step back. And they're playing too many good offensive teams this year for them to be able to not be able to hold their own when they play against a good quarterback and a good offense. It's got to be a big concern now about how these linebackers and these secondary guys outside of Slay cover.
Yeah, here's the bottom line. This is all you need to know. If the D-line does not win, they get blown out. They have no chance. They're going to give up 30-plus points. I had 27 points. I wasn't sure about the weather on Sunday. It did rain in the second half, but it was very, very light. It didn't impact at all. Literally zero impact.
Right.
I don't think it had anything to do with the missed field goal. It's just a mistake by Peterson that you shouldn't have kicked it. Mm-hmm. I said before the kick to a friend of mine, we were texting, punt the ball, pin him back, and Peterson try to take the points. It was a very low percentage kick. I know the kid hit.
You thought he should punt there with 3.5 left?
Let's put it this way. I'm not kicking a field goal there. 57 yards, not in your stadium. I know Elliott kicked the 61-yarder in 17 against the Giants in his own stadium.
Yeah.
I don't like the conditions. I don't know.
We could all
debate that one. That's debatable.
Yeah, no, here's how my feeling on it, because I halfway agree with you. I'm either kicking the field goal or I'm going for it. There's only 3.5 minutes left in the game.
I got you.
It was third and 4. I mean, fourth and 4 or 5. I mean, it wasn't like forever, and you were moving the ball well. I think the last thing I'm doing is punting because I have
you're right because you lose because remember it's where the spot is of the field goal if you miss, which you did, or it stays at the line of scrimmage. If you don't convert it 4th and 4, you go for it. So yeah, you're probably right. You're giving them decent field position. I don't want to do that considering the Eagles couldn't stop anybody really. They had a couple.
Well, it's not an across-the-board philosophy for me. I'm just saying my defense didn't stop them all day long.
No, that's why you're right. I agree. Yeah. Now you made me think about it. I feel like I'm Doug Peterson now that you're making me think about this again. But look, So you want to get started here on the Eagles offense?
Yeah. Well, real quick, let me remind everybody. They should go over to phlsportsnation.com and check out their great coverage. They are enhancing the fan experience with all of their great content and coverage of the Phillies, the Flyers, the Sixers, and of course the Eagles and the Union. They have great podcasts. So just go on over to phlsportsnation.com and check them out on Twitter at phlsportsnation. We'll pause real quick for a word here from our great sponsors. All right, so let's break this down from an offensive standpoint. Let's start with Carson Wentz because, the argument I made a while back, I still feel it's true that he's never going to be Drew Brees accuracy, but as long as he doesn't turn the ball over a lot and give the offense a chance to succeed, the Eagles will have a chance to win. He had 2 interceptions. The second one I don't really count. It's right. The last and the first one, Adam. He's going to take the blame for that, but you watch the play, and it looks like Ertz is he's in line, and he's supposed to release and then cut in, and as he's cutting in, he ran into the defensive lineman, and that's got to be a timed throw. Yeah. So what's Carson supposed to do? He sees the break, he throws, he can't anticipate Ertz running into a defensive lineman.
Yeah, I need to get more information after my people watch coaching tape, see what the answer is, but
agree.
Wentz overall is better. He continues to get better. John Hightower, but I know that was a tough catch for a touchdown. I know, I get it.
Got to catch it.
Catch it. That's what John Hightower is going to learn. He had to play a lot. If you have your druthers, he's your 4th or 5th receiver this season. Mm-hmm. He had to play extensive minutes because Arcega-Whiteside is who he is. He's a deep backup. That's what he is right now. Period. End of story. Greg Waters, that short area guy, he did score. He's a possession receiver. He's not explosive in any way. He'll never be explosive. They need explosive plays. Fulgham does it, and Hightower is all they got in the pass game, unless you're getting Sanders on a wheel route or a screen getting upfield. And again, as Trey Thomas said on our pregame show, Eagles can't run screens, so it is what it is.
He was right about that. The Hightower drop reminded me in stylistically of the JJ Arcega-Whiteside drop against the Lions last year on the last play. It was in his hands.
Well, drop, it went through his hands. He never got his hands on it. It went right through his hands.
Man, that's such an opportunity to leave. And then the very next play, Adam, I mean, this was a bad sequence. The next play after that was the amazing pass to JJ Arcega-Whiteside that he catches.
I know.
Now I know that they're running out of time to begin with, and that there's nothing there, which makes you question the throw. But Arcega-Whiteside does the first down sign, and then he like hits himself in the head, like, what am I doing? I got to run back. Like, come on, this is why you're not on the field, brother.
He was so excited he caught the ball. You know, it's so funny about that play. 13 versus 19. I think JJ's 19. I couldn't tell.
You're like, who's that?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wait, Fulgham again? This is unbelievable. Let's go to the guy that matters. Fulgham, just incredible. So let me answer these questions because we got this. We're getting the same ones during the game on Sunday, and we're getting some on Monday. Fulgham will be the X going forward. They'll work Jeffrey in when he gets back. Why am I saying that? Because I know how coaching works in the National Football League. You don't take a guy out because he's not making as much money as the guy who's making over $10 million this season. You go with what works. Fulgham is explosive. The whole coaching staff should be fired if they go back to Jeffrey. Period. End of story. Work Jeffrey. That's what you do. It's called coaching.
Right.
I've covered this business for 21 years. It never changes. You always go with your best players.
Well, let me ask you.
You need explosive plays at X. Jeffrey doesn't run very well. Who the hell knows when he's going to be ready? I'm befuddled with what's happened here. He should have been back by now. It's just what a discovery for this football team. You work Jeffrey in back of him. There's certain plays that Alshon can handle because he's more physical. Then again, I didn't know Fulgham could be this physical so far. I'm shocked at what I'm seeing. I don't think this is, by the way, for folks that brought up Hank Basket. Someone brought up that one. I love that name. That's a flash in the pan. I don't see this, Geoff, because this is the regular season. Hank never did it in the regular season. He did it in the preseason.
Hank had some. Well, Hank played that whole year, 2006, and he had some splashy moments, but I don't ever remember a game where he just had, that many targets, that many catches, where he was fighting off coverage, moved around. That's another thing. That's what kind of got the wheels spinning in my head at him, because they did put him in the slot. A little bit too. So I wondered if next week, who knows about Alshon? I mean, he hasn't been able to get through practice, but Deshaun seems more likely to come back. So you can have Fulgham at the X, Deshaun at the Z. Yeah. You can relegate Hightower to situational.
Hey, Geoff, when's the last time they had a fast X or a guy who could run at the X position? I can't even remember.
Oh, man. It's been Jeremy Maclin. So that's been a long time.
Okay, there you go.
It's been a long time. But that's been a long time.
And this kid is 6'2" and a half. He's exactly the same height as Alshon. Alshon was 6'2" and a half at the combine.
Yeah.
So, and this kid could run, and what an amazing story. Cut by two teams. He's in a crisis situation to play in the National Football League. He's got to produce. He's just got to do enough to stay on the roster so he doesn't get waived again.
Right.
And now he's here to stay, and really remarkable story. I'm out of things to say about this kid because he, as you said, he showed up no matter where they line him up. Oh, no matter who they line him up against. It was incredible on Sunday. I couldn't – I mean, this is a great defense he's doing it against. What a great sign. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah, he seems to have a high degree of football intelligence too, because he knows where to sit down in the right spot in his zone and make himself a presentable target for Carson Wentz, which for a guy who's playing in his second game, I think that's fantastic. There's going to be growing tape on him, and so he'll obviously – warrant some more coverage next week. But then if you get Deshaun back, knock on wood, then maybe it gives you another weapon to benefit off the coverage that Fulgham might see. We'll have to see. Yeah, I'm just go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, now once Jackson comes back, knock on wood, he actually plays for a game and doesn't leave. You've got Fulgham who could run, Deshaun who can run, Hightower can run. Sanders is explosive out of the backfield. Now you're talking. Now you got Alshon and Ward as possession receivers. Now you're talking here. Now you can bring some guns to the fight. Some weaponry.
Right. Absolutely.
Man, they need it. They need pass targets. And then you got issues. Zach Ertz doesn't show up again. I don't know what the hell to say with Zach. This is unlike him. I'm out of words here. I don't understand it.
Yeah, he seems like he's in a cloud. I mean, it's not like him to be emotionally divested because of his situation contractually, but you never know. I mean, sometimes it could impact someone more than they're even readily willing to admit. Not, more subconsciously than consciously. So
I don't know.
I don't know. But you're right. You're absolutely right. They need to get him back going. I want to give props. I think we should give a little bit of a shout out, and I don't know who to give it to because this Fulgham is so young.
Yeah.
It could have been the college staff that when they went and decided to claim him off waivers.
Yeah.
Think about that. He was released by the Packers, and they claimed him off waivers. They could have just waited, you would think, right, ordinarily, for him to go unclaimed and then try to sign him. But they clearly felt that he was a good match for what, and they needed a guy, so they claimed him. And I wonder what I just wonder if that's a pro personnel department kudos or a
I don't know. No. Well, what
kudos?
they did is that the way I understand it, they went by their college, whoever had that area.
Okay.
Whatever grade they had, they were looking for a specific type player, height, weight, speed, developmental guy. You're right. You make a really good point here. They claimed him not thinking he'd really help them.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a guy for the future for 2021. Well, the future is now. You move it up because of he's stunned. This is shocking the world here. What this kid has done. Think about, Geoff, if they don't have him, they're not scoring 10 points. This guy means so much for their ability to move the football right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just so the college scout, that's interesting. He went to Old Dominion, we know that, which is in what, Virginia, I believe.
Yeah, and think about it. He was a walk-on. Like I think they
walk-on at ODU. That's unbelievable.
I know, and I think if I got the story straight when I heard it about a month ago or through whatever the hell it happened, he walked on, but they actually recruited him or something like that. But they didn't offer him a scholarship, and he had to walk on, and I don't know. But the story's just, and he's a great kid from what I've heard, talking to Line Source about him.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe the pro department had something to do with it too, but I just know that they had Peterson talked about it. They had a draftable grade on him. That's a good job by their scouting department. I mean, what can I tell you?
Yeah, no, definitely. This might be one of the better storylines of the season if this keeps up, because so far there haven't been that many good storylines. The offensive line, though, Jordan Mailata, as you mentioned, good storyline. I think the box score scouts are going to look and say, oh, Carson was sacked this many times. I have it in front of me how many times he was hit a decent amount. And
but that was on Carson. Hold on to the ball.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of those were. Thank you. They were coverage. A lot of them were on blitzes where they're bringing more than 5. So I saw Corey Clement whiff so badly on blitz pickup. So again, that's not on the offensive line. I think the offensive line did fairly well against this great Pittsburgh pass rush and defense.
Yeah, Carson got hit 11 times in the game. A lot of them were on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mailata, I mean, again, this is just from the TV point of view. He looked to play very solid football. He had some plays he's going to want to take back. But overall, this was a major test. Major. Because of the games that Greg Cosell and Trey Thomas and yourself talked about in our pregame show on Sunday morning. He stood up to the test of time, and he held his own against things he's never seen before. I got to give Jeff Stoutland, by the way, credit. The challenges he has with all these backups playing, guys who should not be playing. The only positive is now they could get grades on these players for the future. They have tape. They know who they are and what they're not as football players. You take the upside of it, the positive of it. They're getting these guys on the field. They'd rather not. But the Mailata thing, now you brought this up, and I want to, because we haven't had a chance to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So Doug Peterson was asked, "Hey, if Mailata plays well, to Peterson, what will you do?" And Doug talked about how great of a football player Jason Peters is when he comes back, but he didn't rule out Peters moving to right guard and Mailata keeping the job at left tackle. Quite frankly, it's a no-brainer. This continues.
I agree with you.
Right?
I agree with you. I think you have to think about 2 things. You have to think about, one, the best thing for current, right? And you're hurting at right. I mean, it may have been hard to see just watching the game, but when we rewatch or we talk to sources, we know that Pryor is not very good.
I know.
Neither is Herbig for the matter, but at least he's holding his own a little bit better. Yeah. But yeah, that would make you better. But 2, I think you even though you're coaching for your jobs in many regards, you want to see Jordan Mailata become a future centerpiece on your offensive line. And if he continues to play well, you just can't pull him out.
No, and Geoff, you cannot. This is what you want. You would love to have a tackle 6'6", 6'5", 6'6".
Yep.
He's bigger. You'd like a guy with superior athleticism. He has it for his size. You like a guy's 22, 23. He has that. He's just learning how to play football, but you couldn't make up what he has. This is just a remarkable story, and he's healthy, knock on wood, for the Eagles' sake. So That's another positive. There are a lot of positives out of this game, despite them losing. Look, you don't want to say, you don't want to take a lot of solace in this game for a loss. But as we go through their offense here, again, I think that Wentz played better than he did the previous game. He's still not where he was 2 years ago or even 3 years ago. That he may never get to that point. He's fighting it. He's doing the best that he can under the way that he's playing. He's not seeing the field great, but he saw it much better. And the fact that he's connecting, this is something we criticized Carson for, particularly me last year, that he wouldn't let it loose with these backup players that had to play until the final quarter of the season. Well, he's thrown caution to the wind with Fulgham. I mean, it's really remarkable. Good for Carson Wentz.
Yep.
To find a guy that he trusts who has got measurables that you hope you have at receiver at an X position, and he has it. So that's a really good sign there. And that would be my look there. I'm very impressed with Carson's willingness to get Fulgham the ball and his route running for a guy that's raw in Fulgham. He's so far ahead of where you would think. It's just the guy's barely played. I mean, he had 2 catches last year. How the hell is he doing this?
It's really phenomenal. It's like I said, it's a great storyline that hopefully continues throughout the year. There's going to be more tape on him. There's going to be more tape on Mailata. And we know that when the tape grows, then you tend to see guys get exploited a little bit. So that's why I'm not going to sit here and crown anybody, but it's certainly encouraging. And my last point on Carson is he's not missing guys over the last 2 weeks by 2 miles like he was in the first 3 games, but he's still throwing high to a lot of receivers. He's making guys jump to get the ball, which takes away their ability to get yards after the catch. I think how many catches did Ertz have? Like just 2, but one of them was very high. Yeah, one. I think that one was almost a touchdown. I remember that one because he was right at a goal. But there was another pass to Ertz that was just out of his fingertips. And if he just could keep the ball like at a straighter trajectory, he's going to get a completion there and give Ertz a chance to catch and run. But that's the one area where Carson has still got to make some progress over the course of the season. All right, we'll talk about the defense in a second. First, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code ITB for a special offer when you sign up. That's code ITB for a special offer when you sign up only at DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, defense, Adam.
It was horrendous. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I'm a truth teller. I don't worry about the fans screaming at me on Twitter. Most of them are pretty cordial, but they get mad when I don't give the Eagles credit. Folks, I told you before the game the Steelers offense would destroy the Eagles. Oh, the Steelers are bad. They don't earn their record last season. They came up with every excuse in the world why the Eagles shouldn't have a problem against the Steelers offense. I don't know, folks. I don't know how much you've watched the Steelers. With their talent level against the Eagles defense, there's no reason the Steelers couldn't score 27 points. I had them for 27. The only reason I only gave them 27 because I thought the Eagles would have some success against the Steeler offensive line. They had 0 success. This is what we said before the game. Schwartz is going to have to bring something different. So here's the early word on what I got. The Steelers, when they went with their base offense, played a quick game, Roethlisberger got it out of his hands quickly with a 3-step drop to Ebron, to Claypool, Schuster over the middle, James Washington. And then this damn Ray McLeod, who I remember him with the it's like 4. I'm like, who the hell is 14? Oh, Ray McLeod, who used to be with the Bills. Okay, Ray McLeod. Yeah, I remember him. But folks, you got to watch. I've watched the Steelers a lot, and when they got it going on, if you're not deep at corner, you got no chance. The Eagles gave up 38 points. The Eagles defense is bad.
Yeah, we mentioned how we talked about in the pregame show all the weapons they have and how Ben has been spreading it out more so than ever before. But I texted Greg Cosell in the second quarter, right after the Ray McLeod 58-yard run, because that was like the 3rd or 4th reverse that they had tried at that point, and then they were doing some other things with Claypool that I thought was interesting. He had the end-around touchdown. And I said, Greg, I know we talked about their diverse offense, but have you seen this much end-around and gadgetry and trickiness in their offense so far this year? And he said, no, that part I have not seen. And that's when it clicked in my head, Adam, is that's what smart coaches do. They've watched the tape. They saw the Ayuk touchdown last week. They saw the trickery that or the play action and misdirection that the Rams used to get Goff to complete 15 of his first 15 passes or whatever it was. And they added that into this game. And to your point, Ben Roethlisberger, for a lot of his throws, knew absolutely where he was going with the ball before the snap because he knew what favorable matchups he had against the Eagles defense. And we can bash Jim Schwartz, and that's fine, but when for being predictable, but this is also a personnel thing. When you know you've got guys and you know they're matched up against Nate Gary and Kayvon Wallace or Marcus Epps and whoever's in there, then and Jalen Mills on the outside again, he got beat, then you know you can win.
Against the Rams, they gave up 5 offensive touchdowns. Against the Steelers, they gave up 5. I mean, what else do we need to say? Eagles have a well below average defense. If again, folks, this is way you need to when you watch the Eagles. It's real simple. If they don't get home with their D line, they lose. They have zero chance to stop anybody because they don't have it on the back end. They're very weak at corner opposite Slay. That's a fact. It's not guess or speculation. That's a fact. No one who's watched the tape respects Eagles secondary at all. Every team I've talked to so far crushes the Eagles secondary. Crushes them from a lack of talent. So this is what you're getting this season. The Eagles are pretty much going to have to score 27 points or more to win because their defense can't stop anybody. You mentioned the Rams, the mental breakdowns of the Eagles linebackers against the Rams. We could cover Schwartz could try to cover for everybody all he wants, and I get that. Okay. Joe Burrow scored in the Bengals against a rookie quarterback. They scored 23 points. The Eagles defense didn't show up against Washington in week 1. Right. Like, you could give me any offensive ranking, and I hear it every week, and I shake my head. I'm like, man, is it really that bad? And guess what? When you and I watch the games, we shake our head.
Yeah, that's basically it, Adam. When I watched that game and watched how Ben Roethlisberger only had about 7 passes hit the ground and get rid of the ball as quickly as he did, again, we can talk about Jim Schwartz, but you have to have the discussion about personnel. When a quarterback finds all these favorable matchups and knows he can exploit them, it's because he knows he's got better weapons than the defense does. And this is the part where I don't know where the Eagles get past because, Brian Dawkins ain't walking through that tunnel or Jeremiah Trotter ain't walking through that tunnel. This is what they've got. And so it's up to Jim, kind of like Doug with the offense. It's like, he's got to find a way to make more happen, especially on third down and especially in the red zone with what he has.
Yeah, look, see, the encouraging part of Sunday's loss is that the offense really showed something, and you had the breakout star in Fulgham. So there's a positive where they now know against arguably the NFL's best defense, they can actually score points even undermanned. But then you've got the leaks on defense. Their defense is so bad in the secondary. If you protect, or as you outline, if you have a good game plan, you'll destroy that secondary. I mean, that's kind of where they're at.
The game-sealing touchdown where Claypool lines up in the slot and just straight beats Nate Gary. You know that when that formation was out there and the Eagles are in man, that Ben Roethlisberger said, "Oh my God,
his eyes light up.
Exactly what I want here," which is Chase Claypool, who already has 3 touchdowns, matched up against Nate Gary, and it's like clockwork. So I think most people at home were looking at, oh, he's in the slot, Gary's there, and then bam, it's a touchdown. So remember we had that discussion about whether maybe the Eagles should consider playing more zone. They've been playing a lot of man. It's hurt them at times, especially in the red zone. I don't exactly remember the Steelers' red zone stats. I'll take a look at them in a second, but I think they were pretty good. Oh yeah, they were 3 for 3, 100%. So the Eagles will continue to have the worst red zone defense in the league.
Oh, it's crazy because historically Schwartz is pretty good there.
Yes,
it's a lack of talent. I'm gonna begrudgingly take Schwartz aside here. It's hard when you don't have players. Last year, I know they added Slay. He's good. He didn't have a great game on Sunday, but he's a good football player. That looks like it's going to be a good trade for them. Maddox, they made a bad calculation on having Maddox play on the outside. Now, that might have been Jim Schwartz telling the front office. I don't know that. But if he did, he was wrong. Whoever thought that was wrong. He's not.
Yeah.
Maddox is a nickel corner slot. That's it, period, end of story. He could play it outside if you need him to for a short period of time, but teams are going to pick on him. Now, he's hurt, unfortunately, and he was hurt last season.
Mm-hmm.
The misses on Jones and Douglas have come out to bite the team here. There's no defending it. It's a fact. These are facts. So
this is on them. Yes, have hurt
yeah,
them.
You're in place of what you were just saying. That's exactly why they're struggling there.
I think we can fairly say their inability to bring in better quality linebackers has also hurt them as well.
Oh, it's killing them, right? And I was always befuddled. Why aren't teams going after these linebackers? Well, I ate my words. I ate my words.
They are now.
So they're doing that now, and you have what you have. It's actually to the point now where I don't think 24 points will win any Eagle games the rest of the season unless they play the Giants, which they play soon. Mm-hmm. Against any team that's decent passing game, they're probably going to have to score high 20s, low 30s because the Fichtner, the OC of the Steelers, knew exactly, as you were outlining, what he was getting. Mm-hmm. And they did their scheme so well offensively with their line, even though they're not super talented at a couple positions, they knew what they were getting. They got it, and they destroyed the Eagles. They scored 38, and quite frankly, should have scored over 50. They left some plays on the field. Someone texted me. I thought it was kind of funny. I asked the guy when he watches the tape to tell me what he thought he saw, because this is scary, man. I mean, and they couldn't get Sanders going at all. Other than this, it's crazy. He had 11 runs, Geoff. Think about this. He had one run for 74 yards, which was a touchdown. Right. The other 10 runs, he had 6 yards.
I know. Yeah. No, it's not a good situation. It's not. But what the scary part is, as we look ahead just a little bit, there's not too many teams that do a better job of attacking linebackers in the middle of the field more from a run and a pass situation than the Baltimore Ravens, who's up next for the Eagles on deck. So we'll and oh man, just the idea of Lamar with a spy. Just running
the
past
misdirection. Well, okay, so who's he going to get? Nick, who's Atlantic City's own Greg Roman going to get? Is he going to get Gary? I know that Duke Riley left the game, but I'm going to admit something here. I thought they would be able to get away with these linebackers this season. Mm-hmm. I'm going back months, well before the season started, because I thought their D-line would be dominant, and we saw that it could be, but the Steelers had a good game plan, and it worked, and obviously other teams will use this against them. But I also thought the secondary was going to be better than this, and I understand that they're not good enough opposite Slay.
Right.
That's a fact. But overall, the lack of depth at corner is absolutely – all you do is you spread them out. The game's over.
We pointed that out several times in the podcast leading up to the season, and I was not high on linebackers. You know that. And I know,
but this is –
I said there's a difference between devaluing the position and destroying it altogether. And so you're seeing the –
What is it, though? I don't know what it is.
Well, I'm saying you can devalue it like they've always done, but still at least put a second or a third-round pick out there who can play. And right now – you got a fifth-round pick who used to be a safety. You got a rookie free agent. You got a Canadian football star. And your only third-round pick can't even get on the field because he's just not ready to play. I believe I saw a stat that Davion Taylor is the only linebacker chosen in the first 3 rounds of this year's draft to not play a single snap on defense yet. Ouch.
But, and I know fans don't want to hear this, but it's the absolute truth. As of Monday morning, Geoff, somehow –
I know what you're going to say.
Some way, Eagles are only really a game out because of that. That actually, technically, I guess you could say a half a game out because Dallas is 2-3-0. They lost Dak Prescott for the season with the fraction dislocation of his ankle. He had surgery Sunday night. So it's Andy Dalton now, the Red Rifle, takes over the rest of the season.
Yeah,
and somehow at 1-3-1 because the Giants somehow choked. They're 0-5. The Giants could have been right up there in second place. The Eagles are a half game out of Dallas, who's this is so embarrassing. I had to, because it's factual. I had to bring it up. Yeah. But it's tough. But I'll leave you with this.
You know what I think of when you say this? When you say that, I think of the movie Major League, right? And I feel like you and I are the two groundskeepers, and it's halfway through the year, and you're reading the paper saying, hey, the team's actually doing fairly well. And the other guy goes, man, they're still shitty.
Right, but don't look. I'm not saying anything to be proud about. It's embarrassing.
Right.
But there are some silver linings, and feel good about Travis Fulgham. Feel good about Jordan Mailata.
Yeah.
Worry about Zach Ertz. Feel better about Wentz. He got better in that game. Worry about the run game. They don't have one right now. They hit one run. That's it. Boston Scott. Does he still play for the Eagles?
Boston who?
Yeah. Or Scott Boston, as John Hansen, my good friend, says.
Scott Boston.
Yeah, he loves calling him that. I mean, it's really Yet, remember, they didn't want to pay Carlos Hyde. Hyde, by the way, has had a shoulder problem. He hasn't played the last 2 games. But the fact of the matter is they've got a lot of deficiencies. The Steelers brought it out just like we said they would, and the Eagles got what was coming to them. But the heart of this football team, I'll say this, they always play hard for – there's no reason they should have been in this game. But by Doug Peterson and their buy-in of this head coach, I got a lot of respect for Doug. We've been critical. We've said what we said for 2 years about him. But they play their hearts out for the guy, and that does say a lot.
No doubt about it. Yeah, I do think they fought hard. That is absolutely fair. All right, it's that time. You know, our partners at Manscaped, they're always here to save your boys from a Fletcher Cox-style hit so you can stay clean and take care of yourself where it matters the most. Manscaped's here, as we always tell you, with a real touchdown. I mean, the best tools for your family jewels, right? They've got the redesigned – listen, like the engineering team put 18 months into this. It's the greatest redesigned ball hair trimmer ever, and they just came out with it. It's the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. It's just the best hygiene tool for the modern man, and that's what me and Adam are. We are modern men. Because of their ceramics blade and skin-safe technology, your snags will be reduced, and the Perfect Package Perfect Package 3.0 comes with a new and improved Lawnmower waterproof cordless body trimmer. Also, performance boxer briefs and a travel bag for you to use when you're finally done with your quarantine. All right, so the Perfect Package also comes with the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver. And if you don't know what that is, you got to listen to Trey Thomas tell you. But I will tell you, it's the Preserver is the anti-chafing ball deodorant, which makes sure you don't get all sticky when you're on your walk in the afternoon. And the Reviver is more of a spray-on toner that kind of is soothing, and it's made with witch hazel extracts, and it just gives you that ever-fresh feeling below the belt there. So make sure you get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code ITB at manscaped.com. You got to take advantage of this limited offer from Manscaped's Pro Bowl lineup and try it for yourself. Remember, they also got nose hair, ear hair stuff. It's not just below the belt. It's really stuff that any guy can use, including the caveman, if you fall into that mold. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code ITB at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use that code ITB. This football season, you got to audible from the ordinary and go with Manscaped for your important grooming needs. All right, Adam, I will start with you. Give me your Manscaped man of the game.
Well, coming in, I had Ben Roethlisberger. It's hard to argue that he shouldn't be, but you know what? I'm going to see Travis Fulgham. What he's done is incredible, just incredible. And I got to give the Eagles front office credit. Obviously, I was just pretty critical of them earlier for some of the things they didn't get done, but this is just a find that they got to be proud of. And we'll see. Look, it's early. It's only 2 games, but it's for real because he did it back to back, and he did it in a big way. And as you outlined on our show, the route running and the sitting in those zones is big time. And what a great story.
Would you believe that his 152 yards were the second most by an Eagles wide receiver since Carson Wentz's rookie year in 2016? Is that amazing?
You mean just total yards for a rookie, huh?
In a single game? No, not for a rookie, Adam. For any wide receiver, tight end, anybody who has played alongside Carson Wentz in 2016, he has the second most yards in a game. Alshon Jeffrey had 160 yards a couple of years ago.
Deshaun came close last year in game 1 against Washington with the 250-yard plus touchdowns. But wow, that's what. And he's such a good kid from talking to people who've worked with him.
Right.
I mean, this is a great story, man. I hope it continues just because it's a great human interest story. Yeah, the Mailata story is incredible. This story is incredible, and for a tough start for this football team, and I know the fans are super pissed off at everyone. Social media on Sunday, it was, I mean, the venom. Which, I get it. I get it. You have a right to be upset. I mean, this is
24 hours.
Yeah, I get it. But there are a couple good stories. I'm glad we were able to talk about it.
All right, well, I'm going to switch it up a little bit from my Manscaped man of the game. I don't normally – I mean, I usually give the players all the respect in the world, and I should, but, you took Travis Fulgham. But I'm going to switch it up. I'm giving it to Steelers offensive coordinator Randy Fichtner because I admire that he said, hey, I got a great offense, but you know what? I'm going to do some things that I've seen other teams do that really is going to help my team. I mean, that's what good coaches do anyway. You go back to the tape and you look, but it seemed like every single button he pushed worked, especially from the gadget level. the end arounds and the trick plays with Ray and getting Claypool.
Kept doing them.
I know, all the time. So I give it props to Randy Fichtner on that. He outclassed Jim Schwartz's defense, and that's why the Steelers won the game and why the Eagles have to go back to the drawing board. So that is my Manscaped man of the game. All right, final thoughts. Anything besides the fact that Monday night, 6 to 8 p.m., when most people are listening to us right now on Monday morning, we'll be tonight on The Fanatic from 6 to 8 p.m. doing Inside the Birds radio. We'll have probably a little bit more information. Well, definitely have more information that we gather.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Already, I've been, for some reason this year, I've been able to get tape reviews from some of my sources on Monday, so I'll have that. And this, look, they play a Baltimore team, though. The good thing about Baltimore is they're not a spread offense. Yes, they run the most sophisticated run game in the National Football League. There's no doubt. But the good thing is you're not worrying about 4 deep at receiver. You're worried about Mark Andrews, the tight end for the Ravens, who's terrific, and Hollywood Brown, who's a smaller receiver like Deshaun Jackson, but super explosive. He scored on Sunday. But it's kind of like if you stop the Ravens' run game, you kind of win. Because I've never seen a team like this that simply cannot come from behind. They just can't, for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And they had too many runs, whether Mark Ingram or Devin Duvernay had a 42-yard run. Dobbins who had a 34-yard run. Gus Edwards, you might remember for your Rutgers fans out there. Mm-hmm. Number 35, I think his number is. So, but if you get ahead of them, early, they have real problems. So I give the Eagles a puncher's chance of this game. I really do.
All right. Well, we'll be breaking that down on Wednesday. Well, we'll do the tape review pod on Wednesday. Yep. That's going to kind of sift through the carnage of this game. And then, of course, we'll look ahead on Friday to the matchup against the Ravens. Remember, we've got Grilling the Birds on Thursday, Tales from the Blind Side Tuesday on our YouTube channel and our podcasts. And if you wake up early this morning, Adam will be on with Mark Farzetta in the morning show at 8 a.m., I believe, on 97.5 The Fanatic. So make sure you're listening into that. And that will do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles intel. Big thanks to our producer, Hunter Brody. Check out his work on YouTube. It's called Sports Talk with Broads. I'm sure he's got some pretty energetic, passionate reactions after this one. And also look for his work on Twitter at Broads81. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the Birds.